Do you guys remember Superliminal? That weird perspective puzzle game released in 2019? It had the chess pieces and jumbo cheese wheels. Even the YouTuber Markiplier, he played it. Well, in case you are unaware of the game's existence, it's a puzzle game which features a mechanic that utilizes your perspective. The objects that you interact with depends on how you look at them. When you look at them a little funny, they're gonna think something fruity about you. For example, you pick up this seemingly normal-sized box and you put it high up in the air, which makes it seem like it's far away from you. And when the box falls to the ground, boom, it's jumbo-sized, which you can then climb on it and solve the level with it. But it's not just interacting with objects and changing their sizes. Other chapters of the game offer different perspective-based puzzle mechanics. There's a chapter where you can duplicate apples, and the position and size depends on your perspective. Another chapter makes it look like you're in a horror game with the dark environment. Yeah, I thought it was a guy looking at me. A dollhouse that could change your own size, a black and white puzzle that blends in with the background, stretch and squish boxes, infinite elevators. And then there's the infamous exit door puzzle. Not gonna lie, that took me much longer than it should have. What the heck is going on? I don't understand this. There's many more chapters that I have yet to mention, but that's not the point of the video. This is about the Battle Royale mode. Yeah, you heard that right. Now, you might be wondering, what the fuck? A puzzle game Battle Royale. Now, this isn't like the typical Battle Royale where you dunk on a guy, steal his junk, and get dunked on yourself in the next 2 minutes. Nope, it's something else. It's basically a racing game with up to 12 other goofballs. Each match is consisted of 3 rounds, and in each round, you have to race through a randomized set of levels. The levels actually use the same puzzle mechanics that you encounter in the single-player game, but with several variations. Essentially, there's 3 types of levels. Well, maybe 4 with this mixed type of level, but we'll get to it later. The first being the size manipulation type levels, where you have to get on top of a platform while being faster than everyone else. Be it making a sufficient cheese ramp, creating a bridge from an exit sign, or make a small enough box that you can jump on while also being big enough for you to reach the next platform. And if it's too small or too big, nah, you ain't going anywhere. The second one is the racing / platforming type levels, where you don't need to do any object manipulation, but you have to go through an obstacle course. My favorite being the soda can obstacle course, which requires you to avoid being bounced off the platform by falling soda cans while racing towards the exit with salsa music playing in the background. And the black and white bridge level, where you get to see the path only when the background is of the opposite shade. For example, you can only see this white bridge only when the background is black, and vice versa. What's cool about these levels is that there are multiple possible routes, and players with a keen eye can get a huge advantage. The other levels features the use of power-ups. Oh yeah, there are power-ups in this game, but I'll get back to it later. There's a jetpack made from fire extinguishers, which you control with your camera, and there's an airboat thing that lets you go faster. There's a level where you have to navigate with your jetpack while avoiding giant objects that's flying in the air. Then there's a level where you use the airboat to avoiding big waves or else you'll go slower. The third type is pretty simple. You just rack stuff up until you find the exit. Like the one where there's a bunch of boxes and the exit is behind it somewhere. Just scramble them until you find the exit. Or the one where there's a bunch of buttons and you have to press the button that reveals the actual exit and not just a bunch of brick walls. And finally, the last type of level. This one is a real doozy. It's actually a mix between the 2 levels. It forces you to use the jetpack while trying to grab these boxes and place it on the button which opens the door. You then have to go through the doors with the jetpack on. By the way, the jetpack constantly pushes you forward. On top of that, you better hope no one else grabbed the box that you've just carefully placed. And yes, people do that. There's a lot of, if I can't get there first, you won't either type of deal. Mutually assured destruction. From what I've witnessed, this level caused a lot of rage quits. It might seem pretty repetitive, but the major twist comes from the multiplayer aspect. Just like any other Battle Royale games, the chaos that makes you keep coming back for more comes from the unpredictable behavior of the players. Players would try to remove their objects after they are done with the puzzle as to slow down other players that are behind them. You can also grab objects that are placed by other players while they are on top of it and send them falling back to the ground, which leaves them flabbergasted.
I can't believe you've done this.
Better yet, you could grab other players and chuck them like a mother and send them back to the start of the level. Granted, you need to aim the other player for a few seconds before you can grab them. And if you're scared someone's gonna do the same thing to you, there's an indicator on your screen in this form of red rings around your crosshair when someone is trying to grab you. So you can try to avoid being grabbed by doing unpredictable moves. But if that kind of griefing is not enough for you, there are power-ups that you could pick up in the form of alarm clock scattered around the map. You can send soda cans flying to your opponents to stun them, shrink them and make them move more like a snail, or spawn a bucket that launches rubber ducks and block your opponent's path. And just to add insult to injury, while they are down on the ground begging for you to stop the sody pop bombardment, you can grab them and send them back to the start. There are other power-ups that could give you an advantage instead, such as the jetpack and airboat that I've mentioned earlier, a clone shield which produces a clone instead of being grabbed, an anti-gravity power-up which applies to all the players and could also might work in your favor, or maybe not. There are also cosmetics which you can purchase with dream coins, which totally does not sound like a cryptocurrency scam, to make your chest piece stand out from the others. There's always that desire to be a tad bit fancier than the others. Oh yeah, you earn dream coins by finishing a match. You earn more by finishing first, which is the competitive drive for this game. Screw over the others, finishing first, buy fancy clothes so you can look down on the defaults with disgust? Wait, was that capitalism?